guys, thank you for all the positive feedback you gave after watching my last watercolor tutorial. A lot of you asked for more and I'm so happy that you want to learn and continue to experiment with watercolor. I thought of teaching another technique. It's called the wet on wet technique this time, and it's going to look something like this. And I created this using Pixie ink also, which you can buy from Shop Tokyo Finds on Instagram. And they have all the supplies that you need. If you want to buy paper, if you want to buy the brushes, if you want to buy the paint and the Pixie ink, they have it all, and they deliver even during this ECQ. When you check out, please use the coupon code TF Marylen, so that the proceeds or the percentage that I will get from there, I can use, and I will use 100% to donate to the frontliners. My family and I, we've been giving donations for food for the frontliners, and this partnership with Tokyo Finds will enable me to teach you how to watercolor and to also donate to our frontliners. So let's get started. Using Pixie ink in blue, some of it in yellow, and some of it in green. To get started, all you need to do is pick a big wide brush and do a wash of a petal like I showed you, and get your concentrated color and dab it onto the inner part of that petal and just allow it to spread naturally. I'm now getting more of the wash and doing the second petal, which is really only water and the remaining ink or paint on my brush. Again, I get more of the concentrated color and dab it onto the inner part of the petal while it is wet. This is called a wet on wet technique. So in order for it to bleed naturally, your wash has to be really wet. I may tilt my notebook a little bit so that it will bleed towards the direction I want it to. I'm now doing the third petal, which is really plain water. And I'm getting the concentrated color and putting it on the inner part of the petal again. So I'm using a combination of blue and green for this. I'm tilting it a little so that it bleeds. And lastly, doing the fourth petal, which is again all water, and getting the concentrated color and allowing it to bleed. So I love Pixie ink because it's got some sort of sparkle. Later on, when it dries, you'll see the hint of gold sparkle. I'm now doing a wash surrounding the outer edges of the petals to make it appear even bigger and more subdued. And it's okay if it bleeds a little. Watercolor is very natural, so perfection is not your goal, especially with the wet on wet technique. So I'm doing a second flower, and this is more like a bud. So I get the wash and do a shape of a petal and get the paint and put it on the inner part of the petal again. So this is gonna appear like a bud. It's just one single petal. I'm now adding a third flower on top using the same technique, wetting the paper with the shape of a petal and getting concentrated paint, applying it to the inner part of the petal, doing one petal at a time, just like what we did at the first part, so you can see how it turns out. At this point, I'm going to get my other watercolor palette and get a touch of brown, mix some brown and some green together to make the stems. This is a whimsical flower. It's not meant to be realistic, and so the way it looks, including the stems and the flowers, don't have to be realistic also. So just get your brown and do some stems, and then we're gonna do the leaves in a while. A really light wash of the leaves using a very light pigment with a lot of water, and now I'm getting more of the concentrated pixie ink and I'm running it through the leaves that I first made, and this will give it a similar intensity color wise with the rest of the flower. I am now getting the yellow pixie ink and putting some onto my palette. I need to give it a good shake because it's got gold dust, and so you want the dust to mix with the paint when you use it. I am going to use a fine brush and I'm getting that yellow to make the stamen of the flower. And I'm doing that by making yellow pixie paint lines going up and doing some dots on the middle. Finish doing that, you can add a little bit more of concentrated pigment onto the middle of the flowers for intensity, and then you can also darken the leaves. And here is the finished product. Can you see the gold sparkle? I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Join me for next time. Bye!